yeah.
Okay. So, main application, shall we read out the case first? And then
We're focusing on case study 1,
yes.
which is concerning Billy Connell, a 23-year-old male, charged with actual bodily harm. 5 others were also charged with in regard to the matter. And his occupation is a lab. What's the lathe operator? But anyway, that's his occupation. Does anyone want to read out the facts of the case, or shall I read it?
Go ahead.
A year ago, 2 local estate gangs called the Archangel and the Devils began to come into conflict. There has been persistent skirmishing and revenge attacks. The prosecution will say that the Archangels made an unprovoked attack on the Devils in the pub in Shard End based on the landlord's evidence. Police were called and took 6 members of the Archangels and 2 members of the Devils into custody. It seems that Connell may have caught up in the fighting. He is alleged to have struck one of the gang members with his fist. Further inquiries are still in progress. The defendant's previous convictions. 2 years ago, he was convicted of assault and was sentenced to a community punishment order of 100 hours. 18 months ago, he was convicted of assault, fined with £150 with £50 compensation order. 6 months ago, he was convicted of theft, where he was fined £200. He failed to surrender to custody, and given as his excuse that he got drunk at his birthday celebration and was fined £75. His personal circumstances are lives with parents and 2 younger brothers, left school at 15, began an apprenticeship in engineering trade but lost interest and apprenticeship was discontinued. Lives in a large new housing estate in Birmingham. Connell's family say that his interest in work has grown since he recently became engaged to a librarian. So those are the facts. How do you think we should approach this case? How would you argue in his favour?
Well, I think we should take the mitigating circumstances and obviously the aggravating circumstances, weigh them up. Obviously, we don't want to mention too many of the aggravating because it goes against our client. But so such things as engaged with a librarian, becoming more interested in his work. He's young, capability to change, etc. Stuff like that.
And the responsibilities, like he lives with his parents, and his family says that his interest has grown since he recently became engaged to a librarian. He's more responsible now, and we could use this that he was drunk previously. If judge asks any question, then we could say that yes, at that instant he was drunk, and he just got involved. And that actually the fight was between 2 gangs, and he belongs to a respectable family, and he lives in a pretty reasonable area. Because he lives in, where does he live in? Large new housing estate in Birmingham, so he doesn't, it seems that he doesn't get involved in any kind of fights or anything. Doesn't have any background in it.
What do you think are the likely objections that the judge may raise to granting him bail?
I think
the prosecution may.
Yeah, I think it's the previous convictions only. I mean, for this one, 18 months ago, assault, fine 150. We could use that to in his favour as well. Like we could say that he offered compensation as well. So he
didn't offer compensation.
He was ordered, but then we could say that he offered it, and then he was ordered to pay. We could use that in our favour. In our client's favour.
We can't lie.
No, we have to make up some of the things. We can, because that's what Chris says, that we can, to a certain extent.
It's more realistic that the judge is going to be the one that ordered it.
you won't say, oh, judge, I think I deserve to pay £50. And
No,
you
no,
say,
no,
yeah,
it's
go
not
on,
that.
pay
You don't say
£50.
to the judge that I deserve to pay £50, but like as a solicitor, we could say that our client offers to pay compensation. Then it's up to the judge how much he wants to give the order for, really. So we can suggest.
But I think
Which actually, I'm
remember
sorry.
the focus here, because it's not, the focus is not in trying to, here this is a bail application, so all we're trying to do is get him bail,
Yeah.
not suggest any punishment to the judge.
Yeah.
So but I think one of the key facts that the prosecution will play on is that he failed to surrender to custody.
Yeah.
So what would be a suggestion or an argument to that we could convince the judge to grant Mr. Connell bail?
I think like he said, he used this as he got drunk at his birthday celebration, so he was drunk. That's the that's the reason we could kind
I'm
of.
talking about the failure to surrender to custody, because we're trying to get him bail, and the prosecution are likely to play the fact that he's previously failed to surrender to custody, so they could put forward to the judge that Mr. Connell has a history of failing to surrender to custody, therefore granting him bail is not in his favour. What argument will be put forward to convince the judge that actually he should get bail? What conditions should be applied?
It's the condition, like conditional bail.
Yeah.
We'll have to say that he checks in every so often to obviously.
He signs in, he comes to the police station and signs every week or every month, things like that.
Tammy? Any suggestions?
I think because his interest in his work has grown and his fandom is engaged to someone, that suggests some sort of stability, which means if he can commit to that in terms of his relationships aspect and his work aspect, he's possibly likely to commit to whatever charges that the judge might present to him in this next case. So for example, if we suggest a custodial sentence for 12 months and signing in and out, he's likely to commit to that since he's going to have a good commitment to his job and his relationship.
No, we have to focus, because right now it's a bail application. He's not facing his charges.
He's always been found guilty.
No, it's just.
Yeah, but
just
I
have
think
to
with
use
the
it
main
as
thing
a
to
step.
say is that if you don't release him on bail, he will lose his job where he's working now, and he's supporting his family, his parents at the moment. He's paying towards the expenses for his parents. So then that's a quite, I think, strong point that we could point out to really the judge, and so we could emphasize on the importance that he should be released on bail.
On that point, I think for the purpose of the bail application, the fact that he seems to be going in the right direction in terms of his family life and his interest in work, I think we should argue that he's not likely to reoffend whilst on bail.
Yeah.
To commit further offences whilst on bail, because he's got simply too much to lose. And Tyler?
I think we just talked about the fact that since they found him in the area of the crime, that we could find a place for him to stay whilst the investigations are still going on in the hostel or somewhere. So at least they would keep an eye on him, monitor him.
So that would be an argument to maybe prosecution might say interfere with witnesses.
And the fact that they're still making inquiries, like to put someone in remand is basically saying they're guilty. There's no evidence towards him doing anything, so they will have to release him.
The prosecution may also say that he's gang affiliated and he will therefore commit further offences. But like Tavo said, there is no proof. They can't prove that he's a gang affiliated or a member of either of the gangs. So I think that will put enough for that.
Yeah, I think that's really.
I looked at the section 7.3 of the Bail Act, I think.
You did?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was just saying that a person
I said
has been released on bail. Yeah, it's just the conditions, like.
Yes.
Well,
We can
that's how.
suggest, yes.
I don't think it'll just be absolute bail
Mm.
where he gets granted because of his previous convictions and the nature of those previous convictions. But yeah, some conditional bail. I think we can get that.
And we could just like assure that we're definitely sure he's not gonna commit any crime whilst on bail.
Yeah.
And we'll show up, we'll surrender the passport and that information.
Should we move on? Or any in relation to this case, is there anything else that you want to mention?
I think that's about it. These are the main key things that we could emphasize on and for a condition, offer a condition.
So is everyone satisfied that they can approach their personal case studies properly? Do you think you will?
Yeah. It's similar signpost, isn't it? Is it like certain facts? You always go to bail last. Well, you know what I mean?
I think we've covered almost every question. Yeah.
What would be your structure like in order to like approach the when you actually start doing it, present it to you?
I think we would address it as first of all as a your worship because it's in magistrates.
Yeah.
And we would ask them if they need to know the facts, obviously in that manner, and briefly explain the facts, and then I think go to the two main submissions. I think we shouldn't have more than that because normally in advocacy you're not really supposed to have too many of the submissions, yeah. So you should keep it to like, that's what we were told in last year, that keep it a maximum of 2. And then focus on that. And while you be dealing with them 2 main submissions, we could cover in them all the other options as well. And towards the end, I think we should conclude by repeating those submissions again. So then we actually, it's like a bit of, it's like news, isn't it? You see, you see the main points, and then you, towards the end, you'll see they say that again. So it comes in. Basically, they tell you the point why what you're trying to make. So I think that's what I would do. But if you've got any other suggestions,
that's fine.
Yes.
I think that before you guys do yours, we all do ours, we should just like look at any sections, acts and stuff that have been through, help support our argument.
yes.
So it looks
They-
so it looks like we
yeah.
actually know our
I think we should look
legal standing and stuff.
The bail act, obviously.
at. Yeah, we need to look at. Yeah.
Then depending on the crime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's
I think we can now confidently tackle our bail applications.
yeah.
This is end of session.
Yes.
Maybe we've got to turn off.